Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of our weekly podcast. We are the Casual Ramblers. I'm Jack Richardson, joined by my co-host Will Taylor.
Hello everyone.
And yeah, basically we're two underqualified sports fans just talking about what's been going on in the past week. So let's start off, shall we, Will? Any big results during the week?
There were, actually, if you. I'm glad you asked, chat. The biggest thing, obviously, was we had the UEFA Nations League over the weekend, the dreaded international break that we all talk about. So a lack of Premier League fixtures. Not a lot of notable results, if we're being brutally honest.
Nothing big.
The big one, obviously, the only big one we saw, the Netherlands beating Germany 3-0. It's huge.
It is, yeah. Germany really big fall from grace, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think that's 3 games now.
3 games without scoring.
Yeah.
Two losses, 1 draw. So it's not great, but I mean, you think they won the Euros and the World Cup, didn't they? They were just the World Cup, wasn't it? But then
they won the Confederations Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year.
They were a lot of people's tip going into the World Cup. So to be
exactly, they were in good form. The squad depth seemed like it was there.
It's just bizarre. I mean,
Joachim
Lauer. I trust my pronunciation's right there. I mean, what's got to be going through his head at the minute to try and turn things around, because his job's got to be on the line now, surely.
Surely, I mean, he's been there so long and he's been so successful, but it has since the start of this year's World Cup, it's not been good viewing for the German fans.
It hasn't. But in all fairness, at the same time, can you take that much away from the Netherlands? You know, Ronald Koeman's obviously gone in.
He's done it really good, because again, they're another team. They sort of went through what Germany have been going through.
On a bigger scale,
yeah. You know, they were World Cup finalists 8 years ago. 4 years ago, 3rd place. Missed the Euros, missed this year's World Cup. So to see them back on track is actually big turnaround.
It is, and you would argue they haven't got the calibre of players that they did have all those years ago.
No,
you know, there's no Wesley Sneijder, there's no Robin van Persie. There is, and to be fair to him, obviously they've got Van Dijk, who's fantastic, arguably one of the better defenders in the world at the moment.
Definitely.
So, you know, but still to have done, like I said, it's poor from Germany, but I think you've also got to give that credit to the Netherlands, haven't you?
Definitely, yeah. They're working well as a team. No superstars, I don't think. When your centre half is probably your biggest star, they're sort of showing what kind of a team it is.
Do you think, though, to a degree, that helps Ronald Koeman, that there's no big egos in that? Because I think that might have been the issue at Everton. There was a lot of big players, a lot of big egos. Do you think the fact that it's his country and that there's not actually that many players that are saying, I do this for my team, so I want to do this for my country?
Definitely. And also, as a successful ex-player as well, he must get a lot of respect in the dressing room. And considering there's a lack of egos, I think all of that gel together, it's noticeable in the game. They're doing quite well.
It is absolutely good. Right, so obviously, without being too harsh to the UEFA Nations League, I think we might just have to skip away from that.
Yeah,
England could only imagine 0-0 draw, so there's not a lot to say there.
No one even turned up to watch.
Exactly. Yeah. So obviously, no Premiership. No Championship. A big result in League One though. Accrington beating Bradford 3-1.
Yeah, and they're doing quite well, aren't they, for such a small club?
They are. They're taking a lot of people by surprise, I think, which is really good to see, because, I remember, without bringing my own experiences into it too much, as a Talk United fan, a long time ago, way back when we were in League Two, Accrington were always a sort of team that they flirt with the playoffs every now and then, but they were just a consistent League Two. No, exactly, a consistent League Two team. That's what they were. So to see them in League One and the way they got promoted yesterday, last season, was first and foremost fantastic.
Yeah, just being in League One.
Exactly. But then to get the result they did yesterday, and to be the informed team in League One and be in the playoffs, that's not any feat we can take lightly, is it?
Not at all. And if it carries on, to see Accrington in the Championship would be absolutely huge.
Well, who knows beyond there as well. That's the thing. What I like is it's a small club, but they're very involved with the community there. I remember seeing last year, as part of the outreach programme, there was queues of kids and they were just giving them free shirts. Just because there's so many, it's so congested up there in terms of clubs.
So to actually have that fan base there, it's special for them, and they do well maintaining it.
Yeah, well, long may it continue. I really hope.
Yeah,
I really
it
hope.
is nice to see that actually.
Absolutely,
for a team like that.
Absolutely. Right. Obviously, that's of Sunderland still in the playoffs, going well, and Portsmouth doing well as well. So good. So not. I mean, it was a bit of a difficult one in the Football League, wasn't it? Everything went exactly how you'd expect.
You saw so many accumulators come in. All the favourites won. Not
it was
really
a good weekend. It was a good weekend for betting, but not too many key points to talk about.
No, not particularly. It went as expected.
It did. The notable result across I'd say the football,
just English football
was together at the weekend. Lincoln knocking 6 past Port Vale. That's quite a good going away from home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as you said, to go away from home and score 6 past any team's impressive.
I mean, no disrespect to Port Vale. They're not setting the league to by any stretch of the imagination, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And I think it's worth noting just what Danny and Nicky Cowley have done for Lincoln over the last 2 years. Lincoln were rooted in the National League, and they could be going. They obviously got to the final of the Checkatrade Trophy last year.
And there was that brilliant FA Cup run.
That was fantastic.
Knocked out by Arsenal.
Knocking out Burnley. It was. How high can how good are Nicky and Danny Cowley?
I think as managers they're brilliant. I think what they have is obviously working together. They know each other inside and out. They know what they want, which is is perfect. You'd always want that for a side. But I just feel like maybe like their man management is really good. They know what they want from their players, and I think as well they know what they can get. They're very simple, but in the right ways.
I do agree. I hate to say this because I hate to go. I don't want people to think I'm going around slagging clubs off, but at the same time, I'm sure I'll be forgiven for saying they don't play the most attractive brand of football.
Not at all.
I remember, again, linking back into Torquay, we went away there. Would have been 2 seasons ago now. And I remember, obviously, before they went up to League Two last year, and they were a couple of games away from promotion. And they just kicked us all over the park. They really did. But they don't. What I quite like is they're not pretending to be something that they're not. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's the biggest thing, and that's why, as managers, the brothers have done so well. They know what to get from their players, and they're using what they have to their advantage.
Absolutely. So obviously, big notable. Well done to Accrington and Lincoln. Dropping down just one more division, obviously into the world of non-league football. It
was actually non-league day over the weekend.
It was non-league day, actually. Yeah, fantastic. It is. Really well done to everyone who does support a higher team that did go down and support their local team over the weekend. Something we obviously always want to see, that we don't probably see as much as we should.
Definitely not.
I mean, quite ironic. It's non-league day, and we're going for arguably the most hot topic in non-league at the minute.
The least non-league club in non-league.
Yeah, we've gone for, so obviously the notable result we picked from there, Salford 2, Braintree 2.
Yeah.
I mean, Salford's still top. It's not a great result for them. It's to draw to Braintree. Really, they would have hoped for a lot more. They were actually 2-1 down. They were 2-1 down. So it's not great, but they're still top. Exactly. They're paying players a lot of money though.
They are. There's a lot of money. As I said, probably the least non-league club. I know they've tried to keep it this sort of family community with the staff they've kept, etc. But when you look at the owners and who's running the club and the wages they're paying players, the actual players they've brought in, it is. I hate to say it because well done to them, but it is to be expected, right?
It is. Yeah. No, I'd agree.
It's a similar story with Billericay and League Below.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but the thing is, I remember I thought this for a while. It always seems to me, even though they get promoted in their own right, the outlook of all the teams around them is that if you're going to go up that way, you're very much, and again, no disrespect to Salford, you're sort of not welcome at that level.
No,
it's they just sort of want you away from it as soon as they can. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just...
but what I do sometimes think is sometimes credit where credit's due. I feel like when you are a team like Salford and the teams around you are sort of they're not agreeing with the way you're going about the business. When a team such as for example Braintree going over and playing there, when you play against a team like Salford, I'd imagine the players. They do want to stick something on. They do want to get a result because it's a story for them. It's like when you get a big club in the FA Cup. You want that result just for that story. Yeah. And I feel like every game Salford play, they've actually got something they're already starting with a struggle because teams might step it up a notch against them.
I think you would go in there. You're playing against, obviously the class of '92 are in the crowd. You've got Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt. You want to impress in front of those people, regardless of the game, the stature of the game. Anyway, like I said, fair play to them. I can't sit here and pretend I've got anything against them because what they're doing is fantastic, and and they're doing it the right way. They're doing it in a way
that
works, whether it's the right way or not. But it's amazing that if they win the league this year, it will be very much almost a happy farewell from all National League clubs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but whereas when Macclesfield went up last year, it was a fairy tale story. There were clubs with money. Tranmere had to go up for the playoffs. Yeah. Macclesfield on a shoestring budget won the league. Then they've not had the best start to the season in League Two, obviously. But you see, isn't it strange how just due to circumstances, people will deflect their opinions on clubs.
Yeah,
it's just bizarre. I mean, like if you ask any fan in the National League who do you have more respect for, Salford or Macclesfield?
It's never going to be Salford.
No, exactly. It's not
the fans' perception of it. Whether that's right or wrong, it's not up to me to decide.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. It's just one of those things that it is almost as if they're not welcome at that level, just because they've got money and it's not a level where there is a lot of money. The high, as soon as you sort of get even the top of league or in the Championship, that's where the money's at. But it's all about fan satisfaction, player satisfaction at that level. They do rely on their fans. They rely on their. But you can't help but feel Salford would be okay without the fan base that they've got. They
would be, yeah. Of course they would be.
It's just it's a hard one to look at, and like you said, fair play to them. They're doing everything right.
Yeah.
But it's not the most non-league story.
No, it's not the story you want really
in the world. It's not. But so that pretty much covers all the football.
Yeah.
The key results that we picked up. Not the best of weekends with the international break. No. The other notable thing this week, obviously, was initially we spoke about last week. We spoke about the sacking of Steve Bruce.
We now have a development in that.
We do. Dean Smith obviously gone in. First and foremost, before we even get into what we're going to talk about, what do you make of that appointment?
I think it's a good appointment. I don't think it's. If Villa fans told you that's what they wanted, I'd have to say I think they'd be lying. I don't think that was the first name to pop in their head. Yeah, he did a good job at Brentford. So I don't think it's a bad appointment.
No.
But then you then got John Terry as the assistant. Now, is that the right call or not? I mean,
I can't help but feel, looking at it, that is not Dean Smith's choice as assistant manager.
I feel as if when Dean Smith got given the job, I think John Terry was given to him. I don't think he had a choice of who his assistant was. I feel like that was one of the circumstances in which he had to take over. Not my only issue. There's a few issues I do have with Terry going. It's not down to pedigree or anything, because we said he'd be a good appointment as the manager last week, or I certainly did anyway. My issue is Dean Smith's assistant manager is now someone who has an eye on the manager's job. Yeah,
I personally always see it as the assistant manager should only ever really be interested in supporting the manager. Like, you see teams going everywhere together. You see what I mean? Teams like that. You got Jose Mourinho and I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, but his assistant looks a bit like Joey Barton.
Tanned Joey Barton.
Yeah, exactly. But you see that, and it's surely that's a pressure on Dean Smith automatically that if things are going well,
because John Terry's name was being thrown around for the actual job, he's been knocked a peg down. You do have to feel like it's just a matter of time until Terry's the next permanent manager.
That's certainly how I feel. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly got an eye. You would have an eye on it, though. It's only human for him to look at it.
Especially, you're looking at now your career. He's retired as a player. This is his new career in coaching. If your name's being thrown around for a higher job, you're going to have your eye on it. He's looking for that promotion from the get-go.
Look, I'll happily. I think Villa are a club that belong in the Premiership, and I'll happily put my hand up and say, if this goes well, I'll say I was wrong. But for me, that it's not. If it was Dean Smith and his backroom staff from Brentford, I'd say all right. I'd have a bit more truck with it. the fact that he's been thrown Terry, for me, looks a little bit like a recipe for disaster.
It feels like it's been thrown together to please everybody.
Exactly.
Because I feel like having Terry as just the out-and-out manager, people would have gone, he's not experienced enough, we don't want that. But they did still want him, so they've thrown the name in there. They've got a manager that's got experience in the Championship. They've tried to please everyone.
It's exactly like you said, though. A lot of Villa fans will try and make you think that they're happy with the appointment and that it's what they wanted. A week ago, Thierry Henry's name was being thrown about. How can you be happy going from a potential of the Belgium assistant manager to
Dean Smith?
To Dean Smith, don't get me wrong. I think it's a good appointment fundamentally in Dean Smith. The decision of what they've done in terms of backroom staff, I think, isn't right.
No, I don't think it is.
That's all I can say. But actually, mentioning Thierry Henry, he is actually now into the world of management as well.
He's employed, yes. He is. Monaco.
I mean, they're struggling, aren't they? They're
struggling.
Not
doing well, and it's actually like 2 years ago. They're such a good side.
Yeah, they beat Man City, I think, 2 years ago. Yeah,
Champions League.
Exactly.
No, they are struggling.
I mean, it's what I think is good for Thierry Henry, and we'll get into other managers taking jobs in just a second. What is good, and I think that the reason he took the job is it can't really get much worse.
No, exactly.
You see what I mean? It was like when Alan Shearer took the Newcastle job.
It wasn't going to get, no matter, even if he does do poorly, at least there's the argument of, well, they was doing bad already.
Exactly. It's almost like he's got an excuse, even if things go badly wrong. Do you see what I mean?
Not that you want to think that way.
No, of course not. But
I hope he does well, but there is always that aspect.
The thing is, the difference between what we just spoke about on John Terry and Thierry Henry is he's just helped guide a team to a World Cup semi-final. Arguably should have been a final with the way they played against France in that semi.
I mean, when you look at it in the terms of actual level of performance, they should have been finalists.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely in terms of quality of squad. But to do that, and that is like genuine pedigree, isn't it? That's not just having a good play, which he did. He had a fantastic playing career.
Yeah,
arguably the best striker to ever play in the Premiership.
Got genuine sort of experience and pedigree.
There is genuine pedigree there, and this is again like we just got going on into what we think. You look at the managerial appointments that have gone on over the sort of last 6 months. You've got Steven Gerrard at Rangers, Frank Lampard at Derby. You know, you've got Joey Barton at Fleetwood.
Yeah.
Like, is it enough to just have a name? It certainly looks like it. But if you're a name, does that get you a job? Do you think that's how it should be?
I think that's how it is, but I don't think it's how it should be.
Well, why is that not how it should be?
I think it's becoming increasingly harder to actually get a job in the coaching world because players are just fast tracked. I feel like just having a name and having the playing experience just gets them a job, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can lead the players. And there's a lot to management that I think sometimes the players don't realise. It's not just telling someone what to do. There's a lot involved in management, and I feel like that's where some of them can slip up, but also where some of them can really excel.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I agree with what you're saying to an extent, that it's not always what it seems to be. We've seen that with a lot of players, but certainly in terms of Lampard and Gerrard, they're players that have excelled at leadership. They've led teams. They've really picked teams up. Like, you look at that 2005 Istanbul final when Liverpool won. A lot of it. I won't be the first person to say Gerrard won that competition. He picked them up at half time,
and he was a natural leader. And with Gerrard, actually, he also had some kind of pedigree because he went on to I think it was the under-18s at Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think part of it is it's not so much the name. If you've got genuine experience, then no matter who you are, if you've got a brilliant past as a player, of course you should get a job. But it's in cases of, like, for example, John Terry, he's literally gone straight from play and he hasn't had that period in between where he's gone on, managing an academy side, even coaching an academy side. He's gone straight into quite a big job, actually.
I do agree, but again, as I like to play the devil's advocate in this, do you think that there's players that there is managers that sometimes how many managers can you think of that haven't had a distinguished playing career?
It is rare.
You know, the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Brendan Rodgers. He got injured when he was 19, I think, and he ended up at Liverpool, didn't he? But obviously at Celtic now. But yeah, you look right across. You know, even Mourinho was a player. You know,
they weren't the highest levels. I mean, Alex Ferguson wasn't.
Yeah, he played in Scotland. Yeah,
I think off the top of my head, the only one that actually had no career, if I'm not, was actually Andre Villas-Boas.
I think you might.
I think he had. I remember I read one sort of article, might have been part of a biography. Actually, played Football Manager on his laptop, and he lived in the same apartment block as whoever was the current, I think, Benfica manager, and he just got experience from there. That's literally the only one off the top of my head I can think of.
The only one I can think of was Paul Clement. He didn't have any playing experience.
True, but he's actually a PE teacher, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was. But then you look at it then, even he's not. I mean, to support your point, he's not had the best managerial career. Fantastic as an assistant. As an out-and-out manager, as he saved Swansea, he's at Reading now. I think he's not set the world alight, has he? Do you see what I mean?
It's such a weird situation as well because, as you said, there's so many current managers that have had past playing careers. It makes it difficult to decide whether it's right or not. It just seems to be a case of it's the natural progression. So I don't think we're ever going to know which way's better.
No. I do agree with it. You know,
it does seem weird to think that the progression is to go from player to manager and not go through the coaching ranks. Like you have coaches starting at, let's say, the age of 18. It's funny how you don't see them progress up the ranks that way.
I mean,
as in you would in any other job, you start as like an apprentice and work your way. But like in football, it just seems to it's like there's a through road from player to manager.
You are right because Jody Morris, I think the Frank Lampard's assistant at Derby.
Yeah,
he's been academy coach for years,
and he's done really well with them.
Such a
3 or 4 consecutive
such a well distinguished coach. Would he have got the Derby job had he applied outright?
He probably not. No, he wouldn't have
because he hasn't had that career. Well, I don't know if he has, but he's certainly not had a distinguished career like Frank Lampard.
No, but he's done so well with those youth players, and he's created some great talent.
Exactly.
Like, would Mason Mount, as we spoke about last week,
Loftus-Cheek,
would he be sort of performing well for Derby and in the England squad if it wasn't for Jody Morris? He's clearly a great.
I mean, Chelsea.
Coach.
The thing I think you got to pick up about Jody Morris is that there's a lot of players in that youth setup that can obviously get very upset in the fact that they're not playing. Like Andreas Christensen has only started member Chelsea now. He's been there since he was 15. He's been there 7 years. Only the last couple of years he's actually started making appearances. So it's testament to him. But then is that what's wrong with football, that he won't get a job but Frank Lampard will because he had a playing career?
Yeah, I feel that's where you sort of reach this grey area. It's like, is it the right way or not? Because obviously, Jody Morris has had a lot of success, but he just would have been overlooked.
Absolutely not. I do agree, but in all fairness, we say that both performing quite well.
And I think that my final point as well on it is football's a business, so I think part of it is you do need names because it keeps people, maybe not so much going to the games. That's never really going to change, but. Getting involved with
interest. It does provoke interest, absolutely. Right, so obviously moving away from the management situation, still in football, just about. I think it was yesterday or even the day before. Usain Bolt has scored his first goal in football in a friendly.
Actually,
2 first goals in football.
Yeah.
In football for the Central Coast Mariners. That crossover. I mean, where is the line drawn there? He's 32 years of age. That's not a time to start a football career, is it?
Yeah, he's not young. He's not young at all. Obviously, he's still an excellent athlete. But it's not when you start your career. It's definitely not.
It's not. But I might be wrong in this. I think I saw something. Mike Phelan, the old Sir Alex's old assistant, he's something to do with Central Coast Mariners, and he spoke and he said. And he virtually said, "This isn't word for word. It's a publicity stunt. It's PR.
It definitely is.
It's selling names." And they went around wherever Australia. I don't know where Central Coast is in Australia, and they were asking people, "Would you buy a jersey now? Now Usain Bolt's name is on the back."
Of course they would.
Yeah, they would. Of course they would. It's all about revenue, and as much as he wants to get into the world of football, he can't help but feeling he's only ever going to be used as. as PR
it's
and a
just
name.
advertisement, isn't it?
Mm.
It's what it is.
I can't believe he's playing up front either. I think he'd play on the wing, wouldn't you? Sure,
yeah, or at least fullback.
Yeah,
just give
like
him enough space to run into, because I know his touch isn't the best. So
did you see his goal though? In all fairness, his first one was a tap.
It was, and then the keeper just needs to do better. It just wasn't a good finish. The keeper's just. I
remember watching him on the Soccer Aid game.
God, he's like for someone who is so good at running, it's almost like he's got no coordination in his legs. It's like he just got a new pair of legs and he's learning how to use them. It's not a great watch. It's fun. It's funny to watch. It's just like, oh my god, there's Usain Bolt and now he can hardly run and now there's a ball involved. I think
he'll never. As much as it'd be fantastic to see, I think this is as high as his career.
This is his ceiling.
Yeah,
this is
in terms of football. Go ahead, win however many gold medals he won in however many consecutive Olympics, but I don't think he'll be getting into the world of football.
No, definitely
not on a full-time contract and not in a big league. I
mean, there could be a chance for him in the Jamaican national team. I know, they're hardly the.
No, they're not sent away at all. That'd be good to see. That really would be genuinely
friendly. Why not?
Exactly. Talking about crossover in sport, obviously, I think it was last year. We had Conor McGregor v Floyd Mayweather, which we touched on last week about how that might affect him.
Yeah.
After obviously Khabib's, sort of outburst, jumping over and attacking Conor McGregor's team, he now wants a flight. He's called out Floyd Mayweather, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. And
where this is exactly what I'm saying. Where are we drawing the line between sports? Because Khabib can act quite. His point was that they're both unbeaten, aren't they?
Yeah, and he said he mentioned how during his fight with Conor McGregor, he put him down. He caught him with a straight right hand and put him down. And he said, "Oh, Mayweather couldn't do that to McGregor. I could. I can now go and beat Mayweather." I think what he's forgetting to realise is Mayweather is an absolute he's almost robotic. He's so good at what he does, as he showcased against Conor McGregor. He barely even came out of second gear.
The thing that I found with McGregor Mayweather, and again, this is a total opinion thing. It didn't seem real.
Oh, without a
to
doubt.
me, it was. I couldn't help but feel the way Mayweather was swinging and punching. They were trying to get that fight to go on for as long as they could, for as much money as they could possibly
watching it, because I'm actually a big fan of Floyd Mayweather. I've watched all of his fights for the past 8 years. And watching that, I know he definitely could have dispatched of Conor McGregor.
You look at that fight when he fought Manny Pacquiao, and arguably, probably a lot of people said he shouldn't have won on points, but he did win on points. And then you've got obviously the McGregor Mayweather. There was no animosity to the level that everyone thought there was.
No,
I'm not having that. There was just no.
You couldn't go. It was
a payday, wasn't it?
It was for both of them.
So do you think he's going to fight Khabib?
I think for Khabib's sake, I hope not, because he would be absolutely dismantled unless it was another. The thing is, I just don't think it would be as much as it'd still be a payday for Mayweather, because that's what he specialises in, is getting paid. But it wouldn't be as much of an event because Khabib hasn't got that connection with the fans. He hasn't got the personality that McGregor has. No. So I feel like, in a way, that could actually genuinely be a real fight. They could actually try their hardest, but it wouldn't be as much of a spectacle, I don't think.
No,
and I feel as if Khabib would just be dismantled by what is an excellent boxer.
I hope so. Yeah. But it's a difficult one, isn't it? I do agree. I think that might actually be a proper fight. But then, like I keep saying, where are we drawing the line? Should it not just be your sport is your sport?
Well, it should
and that's
be.
it?
Where does it stop? I don't know. Where is the line drawn? Are we going to start seeing a crossover between snooker and darts? Are we going to where it?
That'd be interesting, actually. But
I know sometimes we might on a pub on a Sunday. That's a bit,
I think you did throw the pool cue at the dartboard last Sunday, actually. But no, I know exactly what you mean. It's not. There isn't. this is the difference between sport. You wouldn't see this 50 years ago. I know MMA wasn't. I don't know if there's a thing then, but that wouldn't happen.
No, it wouldn't have
and
done.
you wouldn't see an athletics runner going into football.
No, they would have been after that.
It's just good old fashioned sport. Everything seems to be about money. If you can cross over a sport and make money from it, then that's what people want you to do. It's not about what's your sport and what you're actually fundamentally good at anymore. That's what it doesn't seem like anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So obviously that fight would be in Las Vegas by the sounds of it. I was going to say staying in America.
But actually,
no. It was here this weekend.
NFL at Wembley.
Had the Seahawks v the Raiders at Wembley. In all honesty, if we're being brutally honest, we're not the biggest American football fans.
Not at all.
So it would be.
That's an understatement. The fact that it's even called football is,
so
definite blood boiler. So
I don't think. I know we say we're unqualified. We're really unqualified. It's not even worth us going into the game.
Yeah, I don't know tactically the ins and outs of NFL.
No, nor do I. The reason I've brought it up and the reason I want to talk about it, the fact that the game was here. And not even just that, the fact that obviously Barcelona are going to play Eibar in I think it's New York or somewhere.
It's going over to North America.
It's going over to America, and again, just thinking of, I mean, maybe like I said, old-fashioned in my views with fans and players. Football for me is all about fans going to the games and enjoying it.
That's what makes it.
So why are we going abroad? And the NFL, fair enough, fairly relevant, fairly recent thing. But really, from America to that's not a 5-minute journey. That's a 10-hour flight. You know what I mean? That's not.
And you've surely got to feel sorry for the fans. As you've said, linking it to football. Say you're a season ticket holder at a club, any Premier League side, and you're told, next month, say Spurs, we're playing our home game, or what's supposed to be home game, against Leicester. Well, I mean, we're going to Los Angeles.
Without the stadium, it wouldn't surprise you, would it?
What do you do then? You're like, oh, well, great. Well, now I've got to pay for flights over to Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly.
Get like 4 days off of work just to go watch your team play, which normally you could do with ease week in, week out. You wouldn't do it.
The gap's getting bigger, isn't it? That's the problem. The gap is getting bigger between fans and
it's so much. It's almost year by year. It's becoming more and more of a business with each season that passes of each particular sport is so much more now to do with the marketing and
it is
the money making of it all.
I mean, we spoke about Philemona, who's also the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. And that would mean he'd want to relocate the Jacksonville Jaguars to London.
We'd definitely be seeing a lot more of the NFL in London, without a doubt.
I mean, whether they be the London Jaguars or whatever, I don't know, or whether they would permanently relocate.
You feel a bit up, you've got to feel sorry for the state of Jacksonville.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Having a team in the league that's a 10-hour flight away.
It's the National Football League, not the international.
No. Unless they're going to do
North
that,
America.
And that's
it's like they are. If they win the Super Bowl, they can just call themselves the world champions because no one else plays it. No one it is America's sport.
I think certainly from an English perspective, we're quite happy with that. That's we do football.
They've got their thing, and they can keep. I don't think it.
I don't get it. There must be interest.
They wouldn't do it if there wasn't.
No, there must be a high level of interest. Like there's people that I know that are really into American sports, but for me, it's not. And my biggest issue, not really necessarily with the NFL, it's not about the fans. It's not about the fans, and that's the only thing it should be about, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, I think so.
So where do you like we said, obviously the thing. How long before this starts happening in the Premier League? It's the biggest one for TV rights. No money is spent on more than English football in terms of TV rights. When are we going to see Liverpool playing in Vegas or Tottenham playing in Oklahoma? Where do you draw the line?
The problem with that is amongst the suits and the heads of all these corporations, it would be popular and it would be successful because it would make money, and all they see is the figures. they don't, the fans just wouldn't come into it because, as far as they're concerned, it would be popular and it would make money.
Well, I mean, I read something the other day. 18 out of the 20 Premier League clubs could survive without fans turning up every week.
Easily, yeah. And I feel like there's more of a demand for Premier League football in America than NFL here.
Yeah,
in terms of the crossover.
Well, that's how it seems.
But
we don't know.
It would make money. I remember, I think 2 years ago now, Man United had a friendly against. It was actually against Liverpool in I think it's the Rose Bowl in. I might be Chicago. Like 101,000 fans.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's a massive. These are world-renowned superstars. Whereas you'd argue NFL players aren't as world-renowned as Premiership footballers.
In terms of actual fan base, it probably is as big in America as it would be for a football player worldwide. But that's just because it's their sport.
Exactly. It's something they can identify with. Getting into sort of quality of fans, sort of straying away from that debate whether people should be taken, clubs should be taken away. Although, one thing I would like to say about that, and again, just for argument's sake, is it not about money? Is that not, whether it should be about fans or not taken away? Is it not about, if you're running a business, take away sport for a minute, and you can either run your office in London, for sort of $2 million a year, or you can go over, once to run it for a month in America for a year and make treble that. What are you going to do?
Of course you're going
to go to America. It doesn't matter about the staff. It doesn't matter about the customers. If you can treble your profits,
no matter what the fans say, it can't be stopped. Because if they go over to America and the English fans say, "Well, we're not following," they'll say, "Okay, 100,000 Americans will."
Exactly.
It's
all that matters, isn't it?
They do have to think about their profits, which is fair enough. When you look at, take a step back, you can say fair enough. But as a fan, it isn't what you want.
No, it's not. I mean, I totally disagree with it. But just like you said, taking a step back, you sort of understand why they're doing it at the same time. Because it's wrong, but it's.
But if you was put into that situation, could you say no?
No, not.
Could you, if you was given the opportunity to make that extra money every year?
My only question, and this is a question for you. So obviously we've seen Barcelona going over there. Matter of time before we see Real Madrid. Definitely no time at all before we see PSG out there.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And a very little time, I think 2-3 years before we see the Premier League out there. Would you see Bundesliga teams out there? Would you see Bayern Munich going over to America? I don't think you would.
I don't think you would either. I think because the thing with the Bundesliga is when you look at the way they work with their fans, it's already so cheap. You can see that they can't care about the money as much as, because I highly doubt it costs so, in terms of percentages, like the price of a Premier League ticket compared to Bundesliga is ridiculous. It's like 200% more expensive to go watch a Premier League game. I don't think it's 200% more expensive to run a Premier League team.
No.
It can't be more expensive to run like Leicester City compared to Bayern Munich.
No.
Like, you can get a season ticket for Bayern Munich for like 160 euros. That's like 2 games down at the Emirates.
Yeah, it is. Exactly.
So I think they already care about their fans, and not that Premier League clubs don't, but they're not as bothered about the profits, I don't think.
No.
So I feel like they wouldn't take that route. They're a lot more traditional with it.
I agree.
And as well as that, they've got a safe stand that way. You look at the stand at Dortmund.
And I mean, that is something that is obviously really controversial. Not genuinely, really not between fans. It's very unanimous between fans that safe standing, as long as it's safe, is a really good idea. You've just got to be careful, I think, with it. I'm very pro it. Personally.
I'm massively for safe
I'm
standing.
very
I'd love
pro
to
it.
see it throughout the Premier League.
But you can't forget.
You can't forget what's happened.
No, exactly, and it's an awful thing what happened at Hillsborough, and. Not that anyone's forgetting about it, because no one will ever forget the 96 lives were lost. Of course they won't. But it does sort of seem like it's people are looking at it. It's in the past. It won't happen again. And I know that was fencing and not standing, and don't, like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm for standing. My club has a terrace, and I love it, and I stand on the terrace, and there's no better feeling. But it is safe. If it wasn't safe, Celtic wouldn't have it. Dortmund wouldn't have it. All these places wouldn't have it.
If Dortmund are packing 25,000 fans into a standing section week in, week out, it can. It can be done. I think it is just a case of really, really, going to the fine details and making sure it is the perfect experience, it is safe. Because I'd hate to think what would happen for English football if we had another disaster.
Yeah, well, no, exactly.
Regarding standing.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be horrendous. The person actually that was tweeted in by one of our listeners, who I know is an Exeter City fan, and he's and they obviously have I think it's the second biggest standing terrace in Europe, in the Big Bank. That's not safe standing.
It's not safe. Normal. It's just regular.
It's regular terrace standing, and in all fairness, in the years that's been there, there's never been any.
No, of course not.
There's never been any.
That's what it is. It is just.
What was it? I mean,
freak occurrences.
It was, and even though it was done for a reason and for the total right reasons, it had to be done while seating was implemented. Is it time that do you look a bit deeper into it and go, okay, you know, a sort of bit of a one-off? I know things like it happened, but for it to happen to that scale, a bit of a one-off, obviously with more fans getting in the ground. Tickets are a lot more regulated now. If you don't have a ticket,
yeah, exactly.
You know, do you think maybe it's obviously definitely needs safe standing, but is it time for all clubs to actually go, all right, it's been a long time, you know, we've learnt from it. Do we just sort of go down the standing route? Because the quality of being a fan in the Premier League is not as high as it once was. It's not what it used to be.
No. So you go to some of the grounds.
So did they not just owe it to the fans with all the money, with how much it's costing to just give them what they want?
They should. But again, money is a big factor. You look at the Bundesliga, a standing ticket at Dortmund costs £15. Premier League clubs, if they're packing out a stadium for tickets that cost £40, are they really going to first of all invest in creating safe standing sections? Are they then going to more than half their ticket prices? I just don't think they will. I think they should. I'd love them to. I think they do owe it to the fans. I'd absolutely love to see it. But again, it's down to the you know, the people at the top. Are they willing to drop those ticket prices to give the fans what they owe them? And I think as well, I think a lot of clubs probably do agree with it, but it's a case of they're scared. I think all clubs, or at least a lot of clubs, are waiting for someone to, you know, sort of grow a pair and go, you know what, we are going to do it.
I mean, to be fair,
it is controversial.
We've just spoke about the business side of it. Like you said, if it's going to lose them money, if they're not making as much money, why would they do it?
Exactly.
Why would they do it?
It's solely for the fans.
Exactly. But like I said, I certainly think that's owed to them. Staying in the Premier League, obviously we just spoke about the Premiership. A listener said he wants to hear our opinions on the Eden Hazard speculation. What do you make of that? I mean, obviously he's been really good for Chelsea, and what he said was that he always thinks of Chelsea, he likes Chelsea, but some days he wakes up and wants to go around to Real Madrid. Can you say that? Can you be employed by a club and say that? I
don't know if you can. Like, he's still performing, so technically he's doing his job.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe in free speech. Of course, he can say it if he wants. It's a little bit, it's a bit of a grey area, isn't it?
Fundamentally, if you work for Sainsbury's and you were going in as a cashier and you said,
you know what, I want to go work at Tesco.
Yeah, some days I wake up and I want to go and work at Tesco. I was like, going to go down.
Exactly. I don't think, maybe it's an opinion he should just keep to himself.
Yeah,
it's not really doing him or the club any favours.
It's not. And then we had something similar with Romelu Lukaku, didn't we?
Yeah, he said it was just after Belgium game, I think, on Saturday, and someone said, "Oh, how would you like to play in Syria?" And he said, "Yeah, I hope I do. Like, I hope I."
You're in a long-term contract with Man United.
You're in a long-term contract. You've already, and you've just admitted you'd like to play there. Like, it is funny.
Straying away from Lukaku, because to be honest, I don't think. The way he's playing,
Man United fans were happy to hear him say that.
Yeah, I think they probably were, because he's not done what everyone expected him to. Going back to Eden Hazard, as much as you can't say that, and I think it was an awful thing to say, and I don't think you can get away with it in any other line of work. He's I think it's probably, in fairness to him, he's at that level, but of course he can't. He's not. Chelsea aren't going to go and do the treble this year, are they?
They're not. They
can't.
And if they do a treble, it's not going to be the good one. It's going to be the typical one that Man United won 2 years ago.
Exactly. So does he need to be? Because Chelsea, he can't keep playing under a new manager every 2 years, can he? He needs a bit of consistency.
He's such a good player. He can't keep adapting to these new systems, new players, new managers. He needs to be at a club, playing well week in, week out, having the best opportunities in terms of, Champions League.
Absolutely. I did see something he said, I think it was either him or it was put together by a journalist, and they said there's a big talk of Hazard and Mourinho reuniting at Real Madrid.
Well, it's more than likely. It looks more than likely.
I mean,
Mourinho could be out of the Man United job very soon, and
Real Madrid
are struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't score goals.
No, they can't.
Anything at the moment.
But I mean, Hazard, like I said, I think he just, without again being disrespectful to Chelsea, I don't want to sit here and disrespect loads of clubs. But does he needs to move up that level, doesn't he?
I don't like saying a player's ever too big for a club. I feel like in this instance he might be. I think he is too good for the level that. Although they're really impressing this season.
No, don't get me wrong, they're title contenders. They are.
But I feel like they're impressing because of Hazard. Look how good he's been.
Exactly.
He's really stepped it up another notch, which I didn't think he could.
But the thing with Hazard that I think a lot of people forget is that this isn't the first season he's blown everyone away.
No, he's
been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And that consistency isn't easy to find. Look at Mo Salah. They were talking about him going 250 million to Madrid over the summer.
No, look, he's not really.
He's not.
He's hit his
He's fantastic. He's a great player.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do that again. He's not going to score 40 goals again.
And it's got to be frustrating to be as a player like Hazard.
Absolutely.
He's doing all that he can do.
And he always has.
He's creating goals. He's scoring goals.
I'm not being funny. He could have gone sooner.
Yeah.
Couldn't he? There was that season they didn't even finish anywhere near the top 4.
Yeah.
And when
Mourinho
got sacked, and he still stayed and he's shown a lot of loyalty. Maybe it is time for him to just stick his hands up and say.
So you know what I've done? Because he does put his best in.
Mm.
For someone that good, you'd normally expect him to be something of a luxury player, but no, he actually puts the shifts in and he performs like he's like an 8 out of 10 every week.
Yeah, he is,
and he needs to get the trophy cabinet to match that.
He does. No, I totally agree. You can't ever feel at Real Madrid he might actually be a Ballon d'Or contender because that's never
his level of performance he should be,
but he's not. Is he?
No,
he's not going to win a Ballon d'Or this
No.
year. That's the difference. So obviously, we just spoke about Hazard and we just spoke about Lukaku. Going back to what we were just saying 5-10 minutes ago, as much as we agree with why he's saying it, understand why he's saying it, should like I just said, would you have seen that 20 years ago in football, 30 years ago in football?
Not at all.
Can you come out and say, I wake up one morning and I leave my club? It just doesn't seem right to me.
Not at all.
Would you see that?
The dynamic of football's definitely changing.
It is.
And
it really is.
It'll come to a point that's probably going to be the acceptable thing to like.
That is unfortunately.
I feel like it's not even a shock that he said it.
It's not.
It's
not.
It's something to talk about, but I feel like stuff like that is almost to be expected now.
I think that is football now. Unfortunately. Right. Unfortunately,
that's
again,
all we've got time for.
That's all we've got time for today. Yeah. A few more things to talk about. I'm sure we can talk about those next week.
Yeah, then
if they're still in the news.
Premier League.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, a massive thank you for listening.
Yep, thank you very much.
We really appreciate it. Feel free to comment, like, share.
Yeah, once again, any suggestions? Like, it was brilliant this week with ideas of what to talk about. So thank you for
a lot of interactions. We had three things we mentioned this week that have been suggested for us to talk about. So
yeah.
So really enjoyable to hear from everyone. Keep them coming. Any questions you've got for us that you want us to answer, anything, any debates you want us to have, get in. We'll do it. And we hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
You had a great time today, once again.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you. See you next week.